a while. We haven't talked about the monster not monster. What am I talking about? Jesus Christ. I mean Pokemon scalpers. It's been a while. Apparently Pokemon scalpers are crashing out right now. I assume has the Pokemon bubble bursted by any chance? I'm very curious to kind of like hear about this. So let's go take a look, shall we? I'm curious. It's been a while since we talked about Pokemon. I'm so curious on this.
As many of you know, Pokemon cards have been going crazy the past couple of years. We've seen some unhinged moments from people fighting over Pokemon packs, OnlyFans models trying to promote their content through Pokemon.
Excuse me? OnlyFans models are damn, man. I feel sorry for Pokemon people. I really do. I really do feel sorry for the Pokemon community. My god, dude, they turn your guys' collecting hobby into a shit show.
On card openings, and a lot of people being scammed on platforms like Whatnot. And although the Pokemon hype is back and bigger than ever, we are finally getting some justice in the community. And that means that Pokemon scalpers are crashing out. The same people who bought up all of the ETBs and packs from Target and Walmart and flipped the $5 Pokemon packs for $50 are now crying because they have bricks. And honestly, casual fans and collectors have been waiting for this moment.
Damn, dude. Scalpers are finally crashing out.
So going back a few years to lockdown, the boom of Pokemon scalping really began. Pokemon cards hit mainstream again with the release of new video games, as well as influencers, streamers, and nostalgia. And the price for certain sets like—
we need to send your sis to fight these OF girls with Pokemon cards. Dude, I never knew that OnlyFans models are literally promoting their OF through Pokemon, dude. Through Pokemon cards, bro. That shit is crazy to hear this.
Shining Legends went through the roof. Over the span of a couple years, it seemed like everyone who was reselling sneakers and consoles now moved onto Pokemon cards. The hobby slowly got infiltrated with scalpers, and this wasn't the fault of the casual collector. These scalpers saw Pokemon cards and kids' toys as a quick cash grab. And instead of enjoying the hobby or just letting the hobby be what it's supposed to be, they turned it into stock market charts and profit margin. I guarantee if you go into your local Target or Walmart right now, you won't be able to find any sets of Pokemon cards. But
I can find my local marketplaces. I can find Pokemon cards and on shelves and everything like that. So.
But if you open up the Facebook Market app on your phone and do a little bit of scrolling, you'll be able to find sellers with dozens or even hundreds of Pokemon packs. As this problem got worse, some stores had to start stepping in to prevent the scalping. Most of the stores began putting limits on the number of items you could buy or lock cars behind customer service desks because these grown adults are physically fighting over the $20 Pokemon tins.
I can't, dude. I can't believe these 40, 30, 50-year-old guys are fighting for plastic cardboard boxes, dude. That'd be a plot twist if Peaches started a streaming career as a PokeTuber. To be honest, actually, it would be pretty cool. I would totally love to see my sis to be a streamer, a VTuber streamer, to be a Poke streamer or something like that, or just something in general of that. I think she should. That's my personal opinion, you know. Card pack opening stream? I think she would, but the problem is like I'd be buying the Pokemon cards for her though. She wouldn't be buying them, you know. Like she'd probably buy them every so often, but I'd be buying her booster boxes though. So it'd be me that'd be opening up the booster boxes for her.
Local game shops also became infiltrated, seeing scalpers camping outside before deliveries and grabbing all the stock before kids even had a chance. This culture created a new gold rush where everyone was buying anything that they could get their hands on. And there are multiple reasons why scalping sucks and the practice is overall unethical. They ruin the accessibility for kids and genuine collectors. They inflate the prices on sets that might not even be that popular or that good. And they create artificial hype and dump product before it cools down. Pokemon cards are meant for kids. Now, I would
Of
argue that a
course.
majority of the audience are actually adults, but these scalpers and resellers are preventing kids to even get started into the hobby if they want to. I have yet to see a video where kids are trying to scalp Pokemon cards, but I have seen plenty of them where grown men are buying up the cards while the kids are in the corner crying. And that's not just greed. That is one of the most low-life, pathetic,
Oh
and
my
embarrassing
god,
things
dude.
to
What
do
an
as an
actual
adult. And if you're buying
brother.
Pokemon cards to sell rather than buying them to enjoy them for what it is, you're no longer a part of the culture, you're just exploiting it. If I happen to get lucky enough to see some Pokemon cards sitting on the shelf, I'll usually buy them. Now, I'm a casual Pokemon collector. I've collected for years when I was a kid. I kind of got out of it for a little bit, but after revisiting some of the OG games like Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire, I kind of got back into the hobby a little bit. But I understand the pain for genuine, real collectors. I mean, these people who have been collecting for years and years, regardless of popularity, are now seeing scalpers who don't care about the cards buy up all of the stock. All of these real collectors who want to build decks, trade, or fill binders have no chance anymore. And parents of kids are also screwed because now they have to pay resale prices just to get a pack or a set for their kid's birthday. But all of
That's
this came
crazy.
to a head when people got so greedy that they began to physically fight over the cards. As popularity rose, fights began breaking out in store locations, and Pokemon had to release an official statement about restocking.
No
A lot of people who
way.
never grew up with Pokemon or really genuinely cared about the culture began buying heavily into the recent sets. But what we've been seeing with some of the less popular sets like Journey Together is that the secondary market isn't biting anymore. A lot of
That's
singles like
good.
the Umbreon and Charizards and just all of the chase cards are slowly dropping in value. And a lot of the sealed products
Really?
that these resellers have been holding onto are dropping in price as well. And because of the popularity of previous sets, resellers have bought hundreds and hundreds of packs. And it is so satisfying watching the people flex about the easy money that they were making, now beg to break even. The thing about it is that any set that has popularity is gonna sell out regardless.
True.
But the scalper economy only works whenever other people are feeding into it.
Yep.
The more patient that genuine collectors and fans of the products are, and the longer they
That's
wait,
good.
scalpers will be stuck with the product and have no option but to sell for a loss. And this is a positive thing because even though some of these sets are less rare or less popular, you can go on eBay right now and see dozens of listings of the same sealed box where sellers are undercutting each other just to unload their inventory. All of these
That's
guys who
crazy.
bragged about having thousands of cases of Pokemon cards.
It's literally scalpers are just people who are literally just have no job. They're literally straight up just it's just jobless behavior. They don't want to get a job or anything like that, and they just want to flip a profit or so for these kinds of things, you know, just getting into other people's communities.
Are now essentially sitting on a mountain of unsellable cardboard. And I mean, don't get me wrong, these sets still have value, but if a reseller is paying market or a little bit above market and they try and sell it with all of the selling fees, they might lose money after all of the expenses and overhead that goes into it. As the Pokemon company has been pushing out more and more packs, we've been seeing this happen with some of the other sets as well. A lot of the time you can go into stores and find some of the less rare sets like the battle style sets, which these sets really aren't as valuable. And some of these TikToks are showing scalpers begging viewers to help them out by buying at their inflated prices so they no longer lose money. I don't think anyone feels bad for these people. But regardless, Pokemon has always been focused on the community. Collecting, playing, and
Thank
nostalgia
God I
all play a
collect Yu-Gi-Oh
huge role
cards.
in the market. For the kids, it's about trading at lunch or showing off the cool cards that they recently got. For adults, it's about chasing all of the cards that they couldn't afford when they were kids. But the scalpers have missed the point entirely. They're treating Pokemon like it's crypto. But Pokemon isn't the same as Bitcoin. It's a card game with cycles of hype and cooldown. The thing that I've always loved about Pokemon is that it's built around a culture of community, memories, and just having a good time with your friends.
Yeah.
I remember all of the times as a kid that I would trade cards with my friends at the lunch table. None of us cared about the value or rarity of them. We just thought it looked cool. I even have some old cards that I found recently that are worth some good money now that I realize now I probably should have taken better care of. Compare that to the culture now where scalpers are bragging about how much profit they made on their ETBs. What story do you think fans will care about in the next 10 years? Scalpers have ruined the hobby by reducing everything to a a dollar sign,
Yep.
while the collectors are the only ones who actually genuinely keep it alive through tournaments, trading, and just having fun together with shared nostalgia. And I feel like there's just such an obvious crash of culture between these two groups. One side is celebrating the cards and the fun that comes with it, whereas the other side just celebrates the money. And the thing about it is that the general community has a consensus that they all agree that scalpers suck. Whether you go on TikTok, Reddit, or Twitter.
That's why there were some people. So let me give you an update, right? In the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, right? There were some people crashing out. Like there were actually like some people crashing out about Yu-Gi-Oh doing a lot of reprints of older cards and everything like that. These people who were like collecting it to flip a profit or so are crashing out because their value goes down significantly when they do reprints of those cards. So they were getting mad at Yu-Gi-Oh because they're losing money, because that's their reason. They keep saying that Yu-Gi-Oh is dead, Yu-Gi-Oh is dying, Yu-Gi-Oh is this, and Yu-Gi-Oh is that. But Yu-Gi-Oh is still doing fine. It's the scalpers, right? Those specific people are upset at Yu-Gi-Oh because they're doing reprints of those specific like high chase cards or so in the newer set, so they don't constantly keep doing it for those people. Like they don't keep like reselling them to like other people to get a profit or so. So that's why I like Yu-Gi-Oh a lot more, because they do a lot of like a lot of reprints of older cards. Sometimes they'll do like reprints of like alternative arts of those cards, and that's pretty much about it. And like usually like the new set that would come out right after, or maybe like 2 sets down the line or so. Let me find out. Scrap is a scalper. Man was supposed to find Ko a wife, but he was busy taking photos of cards. Man could have bought those cards just to resell. You might be right. You might be right. You might be right. True.
Everyone has the same general idea with this. Nobody has sympathy for them. There is no way to sustain fake hype forever.
Pokemon's market crash is working, and we are seeing the price of things go way down.
But the good thing about this is that even though it's only happening with certain sets, the crash is a healthy and good thing.
That's good.
Essentially what it means is that the bull run is done and that the hobby is finally stabilizing again. We see this with every industry.
I hope so.
Markets always
I'm rooting
rise
for the Pokemon
and fall.
community,
And yes,
to be
the
honest,
special
for the
sets
Pokemon
are
card
always going to
community.
hold more value than the main sets. And this shows that buying
I don't
sealed
hate
product just to
Pokemon.
sit on for a couple years,
Because I remember there used to be a
necessarily
feud
mean it's
against
guaranteed
Pokemon
profit.
collectors
These
and Yu-Gi-Oh
scalpers who are
collectors
making
back then.
videos about this getting burned is proof of that. And I can reiterate over and over again, if you love Pokemon, collect it for the love of the game, not for the profit. If you're only in it for the money, you're always going to be chasing the next trend and catching an L like these resellers did. Just like any market, it will soon correct itself, and this cycle will show who is really in it for the cards and who is in it for the money. And what's really cool to see is that the people who bought to play and enjoy don't care about market dips. They still have their cards, but the scalpers only care about the numbers. The same crash happened in sports cards and in sneakers a few years ago. History repeats itself, but these scalpers will never learn. It's like, yeah, you can make a quick buck in the short term, but in my opinion, you can't build a legitimate business around something that is going to be gone in a year or two.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're providing no real value. Selling overly inflated cards on the internet to other adults is not a flex.
Yeah.
And it's just pathetic to see how far this has gone.
It's just
but luckily the
jobless
tides are
behavior.
turning. And so what is the state of the market looking like right now? The prices for the mid-tier sets are now stabilizing, and we're seeing a lot of the big chase cards slowly drop in value. But they are still holding their value, it's not a complete dip. And I've noticed this with myself, but the accessibility to getting them is a little bit better as time has went on. If you're tech savvy enough to go on the internet to check for restocks, you'll probably get lucky enough to buy something at retail. And every once in a while, you could go into a store and be able to find a pack or two.
Well,
and since a lot of things are dropping in value,
still.
I think this might be one of the best
So even
times
during the like the whole Pokemon boom craze and everything like that, right? You can still I can still walk into the store. Like I can walk down to my store, right? And literally like buy Pokemon cards if I wanted to. But I'm not a Pokemon fanatic, so I don't really care too much about Pokemon. So I just rather play the Pokemon games personally. But I can literally go down to my store and it'd be on the shelf. I think No, I can still yeah. I was gonna say my local store over here down my street or so, specifically, like back then or so. there weren't any, but there were packs. There were like single packs or so that they had like single packs specifically on the shelf, and that's kind of like basically it. Yeah. But you can like I can still buy some. Like I can still buy some if I wanted to. Even like booster boxes too as well. If I wanted to buy like a booster box for Pokemon, like I can buy that. There was like not really. So okay, so the funny thing about it, there was one specific TikTok where I think it was the Asian guys that were buying like pallets of like Pokemon cards, right? Apparently, that TikTok was apparently in my local city that they were buying it from a store. Apparently, allegedly, I'm not too sure, but apparently that's what my sister told me. My sister told me, yeah, that happened here. So, and I'm like, really? That happened here? Like, yeah, that actually happened. Like, the store, like all the way down the, down south or so, of the city. And I'm like, really? I didn't know about that. It's like, yeah. So apparently those Asian dudes or so that bought the pallet or so, were the ones that forced the store to put limits on them on buying Pokemon cards. Apparently it was either that one, it was either that specific TikTok, or it was the or it was another one where these dudes were buying Pokemon cards from I think from that one where they bought like where they were buying like rows, and I know Penguin Zero made a video on it, but they were buying like rows and rows of like the display shelf and everything. They literally bought it from there, and I think she said like specifically that one might be from that one. I don't know which two of the videos. It's either the Asian guys that were buying the pallet or so, or it was the other one where like the general store manager was like saying that like was allowing basically these two guys to buy the entire shelf of Pokemon cards, even the display for the Pokemon cards as well. And the guy was like recording them and everything. And the manager was like telling him to like, hey man, I need you to stop recording and all this other stuff. So like that manager was in cahoots with the two scalpers, you know?
Become a collector. Ignore the scalpers, wait for retail, and just enjoy the hobby. This crash that we're seeing is just the market correcting itself. We see all of the big hype cycles come and go over the years,
I wish the
but the
PC
current
marketplace was the
stability
same,
is
to be
really
honest.
good and positive for the long-term health
I
of
see your
the
sis
hobby.
is keeping
And
an
as we
ear
see
on the
all of
streets.
these
Your sis
Pokemon
is like
scalpers
Batman doing
crashing
prep
out
time to
and not knowing
ensure
what
the
to do with
dub.
all of the
It's
stock
so
they
funny
bought,
though
I
that
feel
she
like
knows.
it's just beautiful to watch. This will also help in the long term to be able to get the packs and sets.
And you want to know something too as well? She knows about the Hassan dog meme or so, of the color shock thing. She knows about it too as well. I don't know. Apparently she knew from TikTok, because she watches TikTok, and she knows about the Hassan Piker meme or so, because it came onto her like For You page and everything, and she was like asking me about it, and even she knows about the Hassan thing.
Really want. Just be patient, wait it out, and maybe in a year or so, you'll be able to get everything you want at a good price. Let all the scalpers just drown in their own greed. I mean, think about it.
To be
If
honest.
every collector and genuine fan decided not to buy a single card again from a scalper, all of these hundreds of packs that we're seeing people hoard to resell will just drop in value, and they'll have to sell at a loss. And although it's really sad what these scalpers have been doing, at the end of the day, Pokemon is for collectors and kids. They're not for all the people who don't care about the hobby and are just trying to make a quick buck off of other people. But let me know what you guys think about the state of Pokemon right now. Are you glad the prices are coming down? Do you feel like some of these sets dropping is going to be a consistent thing?
I'm happy
or do
for
you
the
feel like
Pokemon
it's
community.
just because some of them are just not as popular? And if you like content like this, feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel that are similar to this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
That's a good video, to be honest. Honestly, that's very good, to be honest. Pokemon scalpers are crashing. Yeah, they mad because they're getting closer to having sign a job application. Target employees here. I'm so sick of constantly having to tell parents and children that we are sold out. Literally all Pokemon cards. That sucks, to be honest. Every time a scalper crashes out, an angel gets their wings. GPUs, Pokemon cards, PlayStation 5s. It's been satisfying watching scalpers get stuck with inventory and having to sell them at a loss. Yeah, I've been seeing that too as well with the PlayStation 5s. I've been seeing that they have been selling them a lot more cheaper than before. Fuck them kids. I need to make profit on cards. Shut your bitch ass up. I swear to God, to be honest. Ugh, Jesus Christ. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And I'm glad that it's kind of slowly coming back to normal for the Pokemon community. I'm rooting for you guys, you know. Even though like in the olden days there was like beef against like Pokemon people and Yu-Gi-Oh people. I never had beef with any of the Pokemon people at the end of the day. I always respected them at the end of the day. But there were some people that were like beefing at each other, but I'm glad that you guys are finally coming back to normal slowly. Not there yet. You guys aren't there yet, but you guys are slowly coming back to normal though. But that's good though. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.